Hey everyone, Michael Ford Feeney here from NowVeryBad.com. Just wanted to do a quick preview for the podcast, our very first podcast that's going to be coming out. And people have been asking about this because I'm coming to you from a room that's entirely dedicated towards Star Wars. And I write for a website that's almost entirely about movies. So of course, the first podcast show we're doing is about British heavy metal. I don't know. What can I tell you? I'm all about the Maiden. We are going to be doing this show, Now Very Beast, which is all about a series of singles by the greatest band in the world, Iron Maiden. The series came out in 1990. It's hugely important for me and for my friends. This right here, this box set, this was actually collected by my good buddy Tim. Let me borrow it while I'm recording this show because he was smart enough to want to get these records on vinyl. I made fun of him for that, actually. So I thought, CDs would be the way to go. Nobody in the 80s or 90s was at all interested in vinyl anymore. Guess we're all kicking ourselves about that now. This was a series that came out in 1990 to celebrate 10 years of singles from Iron Maiden on EMI Records. These were limited release, limited edition series. Didn't come out here. Only came out in the UK, maybe a couple other places. So these were all imports. We had to buy at record shows. This is the first one I got. Can I Play with Madness? Talk more about it later. We'd get these at record shows, about $20, something like that if we were lucky. Later the price would go far, far up. But you got to remember, $1990, $20 is a concert, Another 20 for a t-shirt or something like that. So $20 to get a couple of singles. It's not surprising that a lot of people didn't find out about these or take the trouble to import them. But it's great stuff. Really meant a lot to me. Really meant a lot to my friends. So we were starting bands. So I'm going to do a quick little preview video before each episode that comes out. And just talk about what we're going to be talking about on that show. So the first episode we'll be dealing with the first 10 years, part 1. Running Free and Sanctuary. The first two Iron Maiden singles from 1980. Pretty awesome stuff. Although you'll hear me talk in the episode about what the hell's up with his hand. He doesn't have an arm. But that's a right arm, not a left arm. Silly, silly Eddie. Second single, Sanctuary. They said that this thing got banned, that it was censored. Don't believe it. The band censored it themselves. Their manager, Rod Smallwood, the original sheriff of Huddersfield, he did that to, drum up sales. They'll stop doing that when it stops working, which is so far never. So these are really cool. These records would come out once a week in 1990. And enough people thought it was cool. This went to number 10 on the charts. In the UK, of course. 10-year-old singles. Went to number 10 on the charts. Pretty good stuff. One of the other things I talk about in the episode is about some of the Bsides that are on there. Drifter, which I first heard on this cassette here. I bought this at a record show for 15, maybe $20. You'd buy stuff. This would be a very common thing. You would just see a bunch of names on here. They're actually mostly spelled right and mostly accurate on this one, except for Drifter. Very often, though, they'd be totally wrong. We passed this tape around. this single cassette. Passed this around for years. John and Paul and all my friends. Paul eventually tracked it down. 666 and a half. This was a concert at the Palladium in New York. But look here. April 24th, 1982. Wrong. That's not when it happened. It was June 29th. That's the kind of crap you dealt with. Those sort of shenanigans you had to expect if you were going to buy boots at record shows. But kids, we didn't have the internet. That's all you could find, man. And that's kind of one of the things I'm be talking about in the show. Another thing we're going to talk about, I talked about the single of Sanctuary. But what about the album? Because this is what I saw in the United States. Track 7, Sanctuary. Only in the UK, on the original album release. Where is it? It's not there. It's only 8 tracks. They didn't put Sanctuary on the album. They just released it as a single. Going to talk about that. It's Wicked Inside Baseball. And yes, we do say Wicked here in Boston. Maybe you'll like it. If not, that's okay. There's an awful lot of people who get into Maiden. Up the Irons, kids.